All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Costa Mesa Sanitary District State of the District. A couple of things. The DJ will be here in about 45 minutes. So for some of you that have your dancing shoes on tonight, we're ready for you. I guess there's a couple of other things going on this evening, so we really appreciate your attendance. If you have to leave early, feel free to do that. We're pretty flexible here. My name is Mike Scheafer. I'm the President of the Board of Directors for the Costa Mesa Sanitary District. With us tonight also are three of our other board members. I'd like to introduce James Ferryman, or Uncle Jimmy as I call him, Art Perry, and Arlene Schaefer's with us as well this evening. We are missing our other board member, Bob Wooten, who is on his farm in Iowa as we speak. I'd also like to recognize our general manager, Mr. Scott Carroll, who's over on the side. And without the folks who really do the work in a special district, if I could just have all of our staff kind of stand or wave or whatever. Come on. These are the folks that make sure that your trash gets picked up and that your sewer flows. These folks right here. This evening's meeting is considered a board meeting, so to speak. So under the Brown Act with the state of California, we have certain protocols that we have to use and fit. So what we're going to do to be in compliance with that law is we'll have public comment after we make our presentation. You'll all have an opportunity to come to the microphone and speak. You'll have up to 3 minutes to speak. We do have a lot to get through. We'll try to get through this so that you can all go home and turn on your DVRs or turn off your DVRs. And I know there's a debate going on tonight, but really the most important thing tonight is the Dodger game's on tonight. I mean, come on. You know, I'm honored to be the president of the board, and I'm honored to have my fellow board members give me the opportunity to be president of this board. And the faith they have in me is much appreciated. I am the youngest of the five, so that is kind of a tough deal for them to have to give in, but not by much, right? Like I was saying, after we finish the presentation, you'll all be allowed to come up and speak for 3 minutes. After we're done with the last speaker, we'll close the meeting and we'll have some closing remarks before we adjourn. Just want to mention that the district has some information over on the side. We even have some giveaways. If you need a pen or a carry bag or something, those are all free for you to take. As we get into the presentation tonight, I really would appreciate, well, first of all, I appreciate all of you being here. Enough of that said. We'd appreciate you following the guidelines tonight, and we really hope that you'll respect whoever is speaking at all times. So with that, let's get started. And being technologically challenged, we'll do this. Yeah, someone just reminded me, would you all please rise and join me in saluting the flag this evening? I beg your pardon. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and I appreciate you pointing that out to me from the back of the room. Okay, so let's get started. No, Jeff, that's not a picture that I modeled for. That's not me. There are some elephants in the room that we want to address right up front. There are some issues involving the sanitary district that, well, they've been bandied about and things have been said. So let's get rid of the elephants in the room first. Let's take care of the issues, talk about the rest of the district as we move forward. First and foremost, let's talk about our trash contract. We are currently in the 10th year of the contract with our hauler, CR&R. 10th year. That contract was established as a 10-year contract. There have been no rate increases in the last 10 years under that contract, no solid waste rate increases in the last 10 years. In fact, in 2012 and 2013, we lowered your trash rates. We gave you a reduction. There was no rate decrease in 2014 through this year because of the implementation of our new organic system. You're all familiar with your lime green cans now that the organics are going into and being taken to a facility for recycling. That system, that organic system, is going to make sure that we meet the 75% diversion rate, we call it, or recycling rate, that's mandated by the state of California by 2020. Every agency that picks up solid waste has to meet that diversion rate of 75%. We were the first agency in California to participate in this program, and we are going to make sure that all of us are in compliance with that requirement by 2020 through our partner, CR&R. Now, folks have said, well, a 10-year contract's too long, or having not gone out to bid since whatever they quote is too long. The trash business is pretty expensive, folks. Haulers want to be able to recoup the investments they make because it's extremely expensive. It's extremely legislated. Over the years, we've had to divert 56% of our trash collected into a recyclable situation, and we've met that. And we've met that through the help of CR&R. So giving them a little bit of a longer contract makes sure that it's fair for everybody and that they can operate as a business. Now, that contract, that 10-year contract, is up in January of next year. Our board will consider that, and we will talk about whether we're going to renew it, whether we're going to go out to bid, or whatever we're going to do. I think you need to be careful sometimes as folks say, you got to go out to bid, you got to go out to bid. You don't always get the best price when you go out to bid. There's no guarantee that you're going to get a lower rate by going out to bid. In fact, we had a report from a consultant at our last board meeting who said a couple of cities in the northern part of Orange County went out to bid and their rates almost doubled. So having a long-term contract also ensures that you, as the residents and ratepayers, are going to get the best rates. Now, when it comes to the actual cost of what it is to pick up your trash, there's a term that's used called trash net to hauler rate. And this is probably, I have a degree from Cal State Fullerton, the only team in Southern California with an unbeaten football team. But this is a concept that is a little bit difficult, but it kind of boils down to this. We take the total compensation, all the monies that are paid to that hauler, and they're divided by the total number of residences that they actually pick trash up from, okay? We take out administrative fees, we take out franchise fees, which are the fees that they have to pay to do business, and we take out any overhead that might be involved with us in processing that trash. So you come down to what's called a net or a trash net to hauler rate, and that's what all of the jurisdictions in the county go by. Here's a look at what some of our neighboring cities pay for their trash collection under this net to hauler rate. You can see Irvine is very competitive. Fountain Valley is not as competitive. And Costa Mesa Sanitary District is right in the middle. One of the things that keeps coming up to us is, well, Newport Beach pays a lot less than we do. Well, Newport Beach is a little bit of a different situation. Kind of hard to read down at the bottom, but this net to hauler rate is based on full-time residents, people who live in that city all the time. The city of Newport Beach has one of the highest transient populations because folks have second homes in Newport, they have vacation homes, so there's a lot less folks to pick trash up from. That equates to them having an $18.48 net to hauler rate. Now people are saying, well, they only pay $12. No, on a net to hauler, which is the true cost of picking up trash, they're paying $18.48. One other thing, right here. In the city of Newport Beach, every resident pays an additional $3 fee for recycling to the city of Newport Beach. So how much are they really paying? Over $21 a month. We're paying $17.13. The county average for this net to hauler rate is $16.14. Your board at the sanitary district has a goal to be within 10% of that average of the county. Right now, we're at 6% of the average. So we are very close to the average. We feel that that's the best situation for you, the ratepayers. One other thing about Costa Mesa, and it's right down here. Costa Mesa Sanitary District is only responsible for residential waste. We do not pick up any commercial waste. It's handled by the city of Costa Mesa. So all the fees generated for that go to the city of Costa Mesa. Other jurisdictions that have commercial trash included in their net to hauler rate subsidize the rate for the residents. We don't have that luxury. We can't use, it's a lot more expensive to pick up commercial restaurants, hotels, a lot more expensive than it is to pick up a home. We don't have the luxury of being able to take those monies and apply it to your rate. Regardless of that, we want to stay as close to the average as we can to help you. Okay, here's the next big elephant in the room. Measure TT. We're going to have questions and things after we're done. Did I? Told you I was challenged this way. Okay, Measure TT, which is probably why a lot of you are here this evening and you've been hearing things. You're getting flyers in the mail, you're getting them in your bills and things. Measure TT says, shall the Mesa Water District and Costa Mesa Sanitary District pursue consolidation? That's the gist of the measure that you'll be voting on. Now, the proponents of Measure T say that there is a $15.6 million one-time savings that would be passed on as an immediate rebate of $650 per customer. They also say that $2.7 million annually that could be used to reduce your sewer fees by 28%. Well, as you're going to see in a few seconds here, we don't believe that's true. In fact, our consultants say that's not true. Here are the facts for Measure TT. A study that was done by Mesa Water by the Arcadis group said, and it's important that you hear this or read it because this kind of sums a lot of things up. Actual savings to be realized depends on a number of actions and conditions that cannot be predicted at this time and could be less than or greater than the estimate of this study. No assurance is given that the results forecasted herein will be achieved. Right up front, the folks who did the study said that here's what we think your savings are going to be. Here's what we think is going to happen, but don't go to sleep on it because it may not happen. No assurance was given that any of those things would happen. Now, in response to the Arcadis study, the Costa Mesa Sanitary District had Mark Davis, who's our treasurer for the district, study it. And Mark's a pretty sharp guy. And he's not here, so I can't gloat on him too much, but Mark's a pretty sharp guy. He's a CPA. He has 30 years of experience in government auditing, accounting, and consulting. 30 years. He's the former Costa Mesa and Buena Park acting finance directors. So Mark's not a lightweight. He comes with some credentials. Here's what Mark found in the Arcadis study. By the way, the Arcadis study was the second study that was done. The first study apparently didn't fit the needs of Mesa Water, so they had a second study done. This is the one that you've heard that they asked us to share half the cost in after they'd already decided what was going to be done, essentially. But what Mark found, Mark Davis, is that 95% of the savings that would come from Costa Mesa Sanitary District. He found that Mesa Water had received a AAA ratings from Standard & Poor's and Fitch for their debt, being able to pay a debt. That's, it's like your credit score, if you think about it. This is what agencies have, a rating. So they received a AAA rating for their debt. We didn't get a rating. Costa Mesa Sanitary District didn't get a rating because we have no debt. Unless you have debt, you don't get a rating, okay? I am hitting the wrong buttons, aren't All right, so the study also, Mark found that the study from Arcadis reported that we, as a sanitary district, had $15.2 million cash on hand for our wastewater or sewer fund. As of June 30th of this year, we had $6.5 million in that fund. Not sure where they got their numbers, but they were wrong. They said that we had $9.7 million excess cash in the wastewater fund. Using the methodology that was used by the study, we really only have $1.8 million in excess. This is interesting. This next point is interesting. Their study said that our fund, our wastewater fund, which is used for those things that we need to take care of for you, that we could save an additional over $1 million if we issued debt. In other words, if we borrowed money. So by borrowing money, we could save a little over $1 million. We don't have any debt because we've been reserving those funds for you to pay for the things as we go. Kind of like at home. You know, if you want that new Lexus and you save for it, you're much better than if you go out and pay finance. You may save a little money by financing because the car dealer's going to make it up with the financing, but that's what the Arcadis study said we should do, is borrow money to save money. I'm not sure where that logic comes. I hope my wife didn't hear that too much anyway. We do have this study available. It's on our website. Please take a look at it. And I believe we have copies here, don't we, Scott? We have copies of Mark's study. You're more than welcome to take one of those and see what you think. All right. On September 8th, a forum was held by the Newport Tea Party, and the president of Mesa Water, Shawn Dewane, spoke, and we've seen the videotape. Some of you have probably seen the videotape, and there were some things said that we want to talk about. Mr. Dewane said that there were only two sanitary districts in Orange County. Well, no, there's 4, and you can see them here. We're one of them, but there are 4, not 2. It was said that our district had $50 million in reserves. Well, you can see the reserves here. Mesa Water has $39 million in reserves, roughly. We have a little over $18 million in reserves. We're nowhere near $50 million, obviously. Now, breaking down those reserves for you, in our solid waste fund, which is the trash, we have what's called our rainy day fund. That's what you would call it. It's the money that we need just in case. We have a little over $1.7 million in that account. We have a revenue dry period fund, which let me come back to that one because that's a little more complicated. Then we have what we call our undesignated funds, which we use to keep your rates down. We use that money to keep the rates down, and we use it to help with the new organics recycling program. Okay? Now, that revenue dry period, you don't pay a bill every month to us or every 2 months for your trash or sewer. It's paid on your property tax twice a year, or once a year, depending on how you pay your property tax. All of those monies are collected, in November or however they work. Once the county collects our property tax revenue, they send it to us. So there's a long period of time, especially during the summer, where we don't have revenue coming in. So rather than just spend that money when we get it, we put it into what we call our dry period fund, the monies that we receive twice a year, and we use it to pay our bills during the times where we're not getting a steady flow of income from the property tax. Okay? That breaks down to a little over $5 million. In our reserve breakdown of reserves for our wastewater or our sewer system, capital outlay and asset management, we have a little over $10 million. Those funds are designated to fix your sewer system. Our board takes an aggressive approach to making sure that we're not on the news, on the KTLA morning news every morning with a sewer break, like the city of Los Angeles is. We take an aggressive stance to make sure that the sewer flows. It's one thing to have water flowing down the street, It's a lot different having wastewater flow down the street, believe me. Again, that revenue dry period, monies that we set aside to pay our bills between the property tax increments. Our asset replacement fund we use to replace trucks, hoses, equipment that's needed to make sure that the system works. And we have an emergency preparedness $1 million fund. The next big one's coming. We all know that. And if we have an emergency, we like to have a little bit of money to be able to take care of things so that we can make sure the sewer is going where it needs to go. We have a rainy day fund for the wastewater as well to take care of any contingencies that might arise. One thing about these operating rainy day funds, there are only 6 reasons that we can use those funds. And I'm not going to give those all to you now. They're in our newsletter that's over there. That money can only be spent for 6 specific reasons. We have a facilities revolving fund. Those are fees for when contractors hook up sewer systems and things like that we use for our operation. And our $5 million building that you've heard we've bought over on Paularino and Red Hill is actually $3.3 million. So that money was used to purchase our new headquarters. Now, we could have borrowed money to buy that headquarters building, but then you all would have to repay that loan. We had the money set aside to do it. Now, why did we get a new building? We'll talk about that a little later in the program, but I think you'll see that our reasons are pretty sound. You all received this in the mail, the Measure TT report, or you should have received it. A couple of things we want to point out to you. If you can read that, your eyes are a lot stronger than mine, but it says, would a consolidated water sanitary district be financially strong? The consolidated district would be AAA rated and financially strong with a projected $40 million in reserves after customer rebates. Well, here's where those reserves are that they're talking about. $40 million in reserves. There's $39.4 million there. There's 18.2. You've seen this slide earlier. That's what we just talked about. Would a consolidated, again, the same question. The new district would be AAA rated. 40 million in reserves. Kind of tells us that that's some proof that Mesa Water wants to raid the solid waste fund that we have to use for their own benefit. They've already got $40 million in reserve. They're not going to use any of that money to replace aging infrastructure. Costa Mesa Sanitary District's been in operation since 1944. We have pipes that need to be replaced. I always joke that I know what my pipes are doing at my age, and I'm not quite as old as the sanitary district. We need some money to take care of that. Mesa Water is ignoring that by pushing for Measure TT. And we think it's risking the public safety by taking those monies away from the ability to fix what could go wrong. During that meeting, President Dewane mentioned that Mesa Water has a AAA credit rating while we have no credit rating. I mentioned this earlier. We don't have a credit rating because we have no debt. According to the reports from Mesa Water, they have $27 million in debt. If there's an earthquake, water and wastewater pipes will be bursting. Because Mesa Water is AAA rated, we can go to capital markets to borrow money to fix the pipes. Well, you don't just go borrow money the next day to fix the water pipes. Lending agencies need some time. We can repair our wastewater pipes immediately. We have the money set aside in reserve to take care of those things so that we don't have to borrow the money that you'll have to repay. You know, why borrow it when you already have it? Comment was made that wastewater pipes do not need much maintenance. It's a picture from the city of Los Angeles on July 19th of this year. That's not water. At least it's not drinking water, okay? Our district is, again, taking a very proactive and aggressive approach to making sure that this doesn't happen. We've designated our crew to fix what we call hotspots. We know pipes. We've televised almost the entire city with the sewer system. We know where the potential breaks are, and we are actively fixing those right now. We're not going to be on the news, or at least we don't want to be on the news for this kind of thing. Okay, so a statement was made that everybody, if the consolidation happens, that everyone will get $650. Well, the statement was made that folks who live on the east side of Costa Mesa, who have sewer service from the Irvine Ranch Water District, will also get this $650. We put this one in red. It's not true. The customers with Irvine Ranch in our area who have not paid into the reserves or the money for Costa Mesa Sanitary District, they are not entitled to any kind of rebate. So statements that Irvine Ranch Water District customers would also get this $650, it's just not true. Statement was made that since 2005, when President Dewane joined the Mesa Water Board, that the conversation of consolidation had come up every time we crossed paths, the two districts. Well, in 2003, the City of Costa Mesa, the Sanitary District, and the Water District formed what we call a liaison committee. The three agencies meet 4 times a year to talk about common issues, things that are happening with each agency, how we can help each other, stuff like that. In the last 13 years since this committee has met, and we've looked at every single agenda because we keep them, that subject was never brought up in any of those meetings. So I'm not good at math, but 13 times 4, that's a lot of meetings where we supposedly could have talked about this effort. It was never done. The last 6 years that I've been on this board, I've been to almost every one of them. It's never come up. In June of this year, and then in September of this year, when we had our regularly scheduled liaison meetings, both the City of Costa Mesa and Mesa Water asked to cancel those meetings because they said they had nothing to put on the agenda. June and September. Sanitary District refused to sit down with Mesa Water to discuss this issue. I can vouch for this one personally because I was the one involved. President Dewane contacted me, and that's just not true. We did agree to sit down, and there's written correspondence with that. What we felt, though, is we wanted to talk about it as a board before we sat down with Mesa Water. In the spirit of transparency for all of you, that's what we should do as a board. I'm not going to make that decision as president of the board. That's not fair to my board, and it's not fair to the ratepayers. And that's what I told the president of Mesa Water. The other thing was when the invitation was given to us to sit down, it wasn't to sit down to talk about consolidation. I was invited to spend half of the monies that were being spent on their study. That was the conversation. We want you to participate in the study with us and pay for half the fees. Our comment to them was, you know, within this area that is serviced by both of our agencies, it's not all Mesa Water and it's not all Costa Mesa Sanitary District. The City of Costa Mesa is involved, the City of Newport Beach, County of Orange, and Irvine Ranch Water District are all players in this whole thing. Our philosophy was, if you're going to talk about a consolidation, if you're going to talk about saving money, let's get all the players, let's get all the parties involved, everybody sit down and talk, not just the two agencies that they've invited. Okay? This is another comment. Serving on Mesa Water Board is a volunteer type position. Well, you got to run for election, so you're not really volunteering. But from 2013 to 2015, Mesa Water Board members received $37,537 in compensation. Our board last year, each one of us received $18,900. I don't know many volunteers that get that kind of money. I sure know the volunteer I work at, I don't get paid that much. One other thing, in addition to this compensation, Each Mesa Water Board member gets health insurance benefits. We don't at Costa Mesa Sanitary District. We've opted not to have any health insurance benefits paid to our board members. Okay, again, the report that you got in the mail a few days ago. What is the purpose of Measure TT? It's about reducing the size and cost of local government. The only purpose is to determine the level of public support. In other words, this measure has there's nothing that can be done after it's over. It's not binding on anybody. It's simply an advisory measure for the voters. Well, we don't think that's true. We don't think that it's just an advisory measure. When you read the first iteration of the ballot proposition, in there, it promised all of you $650. It all promised you savings. We had to challenge that in court because when you do propositions and ballot measures, you got to be truthful. You can't try to sway people one way or another. And an agreement was reached, and Mesa Water agreed to reduce the proposition to just what you've read earlier. How do you feel about consolidation, basically? We think that putting this measure out there is really some pressure that they can go to the local agency formation commission later and say, look, the people of Costa Mesa demand a consolidation. And that's what they think the vote's going to do. Why Measure TT being placed on the ballot now? It says, Measure TT is in response to years of public discussion about why our community has two districts providing water and sewer and trash collection services. Well, when did this discussion take place? I just told you, for the last 13 years, we've had ample opportunities to talk about this, and it never came up. Claims that the optimal government structure study, which was the Arcata study we mentioned earlier, used out-of-date and bad information. It's true. The stuff that Mesa Water took from us to use in their study was done 2 years ago. Nothing updated, two-year-old information. Take a minute to look at the two agencies side by side. Both agencies have been recognized by the California Special Districts Association for transparency. In other words, are you able to see what each agency is doing and how do they respond? So both agencies have been recognized for transparency by the association. But let's talk about who's really more transparent. Our district, Costa Mesa Sanitary District, videos every one of our board meetings, and they're available to you whenever you want them. Mesa Water doesn't do that. They don't video their meetings. Ironically, I might point out that this evening we had decided to have this meeting videoed, so we're having the meeting videoed so that you can get it off our website later. We have a representative here from Mesa Water who's videotaping our meeting tonight. They don't videotape their meetings, but they're videotaping me. I don't look that good. Costa Mesa Sanitary District. We post all our contracts with vendors and public entities, and we put it on our website. Mesa Water doesn't do that. We disclose our personal conflict of interest forms on our website. Mesa Water doesn't do that. We disclose on our website reimbursements of at least $100 to board members and/or employees as required by the government code. Mesa Water doesn't do that. We have a link on our website disclosing employee compensation that we report to the California State Controller's Office. Mesa Water doesn't do that. In 2011-2012, the Orange County Grand Jury decided they wanted to look at special districts and see what was going on. So they graded special districts on several things, and here's the grades. Costa Mesa Sanitary District, for accessibility, we received an A. So did Mesa Water. That means you can get information if you need it. Our executive page, we received a grade of B+. Mesa Water got a D. Employee page, we got a B+, they got a D. And this isn't stuff we made up. This is from the Orange County Grand Jury report. You can get it right off their website. Wait, there's more. Our district, Costa Mesa Sanitary District, we disclose the general manager's contract, including all amendments on our website. You know what Scott Carroll makes by going on our website. You can find it very easily. Guess what? Mesa Water doesn't do that. We disclose 5 compensation reports starting in fiscal year 2011 and 12. It's a historical, so you can see what we've been paid. Mesa Water only puts 1. This is for you accounting gurus, and if you all remember this, congratulations. Costa Mesa Sanitary District, we disclose on our website our popular annual financial report, which we call a PAFR, which extracts information to produce high-quality reports that are easily understood by the public. In other words, looking at all those numbers, looking at all those things for the general public is a little cumbersome. We do what's called a PAFR to make sure that you can read it and you can understand it. Sometimes think they do that for board members to make sure we can read it and understand it, but it's for the public, it's for transparency. Mesa Water doesn't include a PAFR. This is a telling one. If you go to our website, you can find minutes from every board of directors meeting with Costa Mesa Sanitary District back to February 18th, 1944. They're on our website. Mesa Water goes back to 2012. We disclose all amendments, motions, resolutions, everything back to 1946. Everything we've ever done, you can, if you want to, you can find it. Mesa Water doesn't do that. Oh, by the way, did you know? We don't have any debt. They have $27 million of debt. If you've heard the term unfunded pension liability, it's bandied about. You hear it on the news. They talk about it at city council meetings. They talk about it at sanitation district meetings. They talk about it at every meeting that's a public agency. The big topic is unfunded pension liability and how are they going to be able to pay that off. Our district has a $271,000 unfunded pension liability amount. Mesa Water's is $6.3 million. We don't have any health care benefits. Their directors get benefits that total $65,000 a year. Our general manager's salary is 15% below the average city manager salary in Orange County and 5% below the average salary for a special district general manager. The general manager for Mesa Water is 21% higher than the average city manager. And he's 35% higher than the average general manager for a special district in Orange County. We have no assistant general manager at Costa Mesa Sanitary District. Mesa Water has 2, plus the general manager. Our top 10 employee compensation is $1.2 million. Theirs is $2.1 million, 83% higher than ours. In the last 5 years, your sanitary district has spent $7 million on capital improvements. We are fixing pump stations. We are fixing pipes that have a potential to burst. We are fixing the things that make sure that your sewer stays underground. Mesa Water's philosophy to defer those improvements later and to borrow money to do that is really opposed to what we're doing. A little complicated, but we have a mapping system that we make available to everyone so that if you have a problem with your sewer in your yard, your lateral, which goes from the street to the house, you can come into the district. We'll show you exactly where it is so that your plumber doesn't have to use expensive equipment to figure out where your pipes are. And believe me, I'm in the insurance business. I know what plumbers charge to fix sewers. We have the ability for you to save some money on that. Mesa Water doesn't have that. Construction, we can give you construction plans. They can't. How would a consolidated water district, sanitary district benefit our community? Most water and sanitary agencies are provided by one agency. We've talked about that already. We want you to see kind of a little bit about what the 2 districts entail. Our district has a population of almost 117,000. They have a little bit less. They're a little bit larger because they have some areas that we don't provide sewer to. You can see that there. That's what the two districts look like. Our full compensation for our district is $94,951 a year. Board of Directors for Mesa Water, $225,305. Our general manager in 2015 made $200,000, almost $201,000. The three general managers, or the general manager and the two assistants with Mesa Water, $7 million. Any idea why they would like to get a hold of our reserves and our money? You know, on November 8th, you decide. You decide what kind of agency you want in Costa Mesa, whether you want to combine or if you want to let the two continue to run as they are. Again, there's no binding factor with that measure, but you decide. We'd ask you to take a look at our website. We have all this information that we've already given you and more if you'd like to take the time to do that, and we'd highly encourage you to do that. Now, let's talk about some pleasant things. What have we done for you lately? You know, it's what I used to ask my children, which never got an answer. We have undertaken a project to make sure that our pump stations, the places that pump the sewer over to the county, under the Santa Ana River and over to the county, we are putting in emergency generators in all these pump stations so that if there's an electrical outage, your sewer's not going to come back up through the toilet. It's going to get pumped because these generators are all going to come on. We actually even have a fleet, if you will, of portable generators. We have a system that as soon as one of those pump stations gets out of whack or out of line, an alarm goes off, and I saw Steve here earlier. Steve gets up in the middle of the night and goes and hooks up a generator to make sure the sewer continues to flow through that pump station. Our staff is ready to go on call. Actually, that's Steve right there, the good-looking guy. We have put wireless tablets in our vehicles for our staff so that when they're out working, they can easily find a situation. Remember I told you about that mapping system earlier where we know where the pipes are? Our guys can take care of that in the field so that they're not stumbling and looking for where the problem is. They know it within a couple of seconds. We have an extremely successful maintenance program. We want to make sure that those pumps and those pipes are working. In the last 3 years, we've had 0 overflows from our pump stations. We have not lost a drop of sewage from our pump station in the last 3 years. We've gone the longest consecutive days without a mainline sewer overflow. We've gone over a year without any mainline sewer overflows. We're very proud of that. We as a board are proud of it, but we're very proud of our crew for the proactive work they do so that you don't have to suffer from that. We've cleaned the entire sewer system in Costa Mesa. There are 224 miles of pipes under the city, under our area, and how many of you have ever called Roto-Rooter? We don't call Roto-Rooter because we make sure that stuff is clean all the time. And we take a very strong stance as a board to make sure that that's done. Recently, you've all gotten your organics recycling cans. I mentioned earlier in my talk that by the year 2020, the state government has said you will divert 75% of your trash, and you will also take care of the organics that used to go to the landfills. What they did with these organics, they would mulch them all up, and then they would spread them across the landfill. It was called alternate daily cover. Never thought I'd ever know that term. But they used to take that stuff and spread it out. Well, in our partnership with CR&R and our partnership with you as the residents, by you collecting that stuff, it's being trucked out to Paris, California, and all of that stuff is turning into renewable gas for the trucks. It's going very little, or part of it is going to compost. It's all being taken care of. Nothing goes to the landfill. Some of it goes out for fertilizer. We're not putting those items into the landfill. We were the first, as mentioned earlier, we were the first public agency to sign up for this program in the state of California with CR&R. And for that, they rewarded us with the lowest rate. The second agency to sign up for this very same organics program was the city of Los Angeles. They were putting their stuff on trains and trying to take it to Bakersfield and places, and they said, Well, the city of Los Angeles is now working with CR&R. They pay more than we do for this service, so we're really happy about that. I mentioned the $7 million that we've spent in improvement projects. Just real briefly, you can see here we've replaced force mains, which are again the mains that move your sewer. We've done some pump station earthquake retrofitting. We did a real interesting project over on Indus Lane, where behind the homes, and Indus is over off of Red Hill and over by the tennis area and the little golf course, or the golf course over there. So we had to take this Indus pipe and go all the way around about how many homes? 600 feet of pipe. We didn't dig anything. We put that stuff through, and our engineer Rob Hamers and his staff got that done with minimal disruption. That sewer will flow for years to come now without those folks over there having to suffer an overflow. From an insurance standpoint, I like this one. We've repaired 142 sewer manhole surfaces. So when my customers drive over a manhole, I know they're not going to blow out and cause an accident. So that's a good one. I mean, that's an everyday thing that happens to all of us, where you drive over a pothole, or I'm sorry, a manhole, and it wobbles or it's got stuff missing around it. Go up to the city of Santa Ana and see how many they have. All right, let's talk about our new building. We have purchased this building. We've paid cash for this building. We expect to move in the next 2 weeks. November 11th is our target date to move in. It's at 2090 Paularino Avenue. You're welcome to come when we open up. There'll be a lot more room. Our current building is extremely underparked. When we have a meeting, we can't fit our staff, our board, and everybody who comes to the meetings. As a result, most of our staff have to park at the Costa Mesa Senior Center, walk across the street. Well, we found that that's not always the best situation. We've had several employees approached, is the word I'm going to use, as they're walking down 19th Street, approached by one gentleman who was unclothed. I mean, it's a situation that warrants an improvement. And so we're now going to be very, very adequately parked at our new building, and we're going to have a much better boardroom. Right now, if you've had the opportunity to come to one of our board meetings, it's a tight fit. We have very little room. We're now going to have a room that we can be proud of, and that all of you can come and participate in our process. We'd encourage you to do that. One of the things we're really proud of as a board is that we are going to have a room at our headquarters building that will be a multi-purpose room that community groups, service organizations, folks who want to use a room for a meeting place will be able to use that room. Meeting space in this town for groups is dwindling. This is going to be gone soon. So we made it a goal to make sure that there was a multi-purpose room that can be used at our new building, and it'll be open for all of you. By the way, that $5 million building that we talked about didn't include the fact that we sold our current building. That's what that building is costing us, ladies and gentlemen, $2.9 million, not $5 million that you will read in flyers and other things. It's not true. We have some partnerships we're very proud of as well. We partner with the Costa Mesa Fire Department for sharp containers, and we have some here available. Those are free of charge to any of our ratepayer, or to anybody that wants to come in and get one. If you're diabetic, or if you have the need for injections, we will provide you that sharps, and you can take it to the fire department, or you can take it to one of the 2 pharmacies here in town that take those, Stevens Pharmacy and Rexall on Newport Boulevard. We also partner with the Orange County Sanitation District. You know, all this trash, or all this sewer that we collect from you, we don't hold on to it. We ship it across the river to the Orange County Sanitation District. We use partnerships with Orange County Sanitation District for engineering services that save us a lot of money and obviously saves you money. For those of you that are inclined, we have the Costa Mesa Sanitary District smartphone app. I've used it. It's really good. If you have trash carts in the public view that you want to report, if for some reason CR&R misses your trash pickup, you can do it there. You get an immediate response, or pretty immediate response. Scavenging. Scavenging is a pretty big deal in Costa Mesa. You've seen the trucks that drive around on the night of your trash where you put your trash out. And we have a code enforcement officer who tries his best to keep this stuff from happening. If you see something, we'd appreciate knowing about it. If you find a loose manhole cover, even though we fixed 154 of them, we'd like you to report it. Odors, it's sewer, folks. There are some odors. We try to mitigate those odors as much as we can, but we do have it. We'd appreciate you letting us know if you see some of those. So far, lastly, the large item pickup. For years and years, we would tell you that a couple of times a year we would have a large item pickup, and you could put all your big stuff out on the curb, and the trash hauler would take them away for free. Now we have changed that program, and we allow you to put those items out, up to 10 items, a couple of times a year, and they'll come pick it up. But you got to schedule that pickup. We were asked why we did that, and realistically, it goes back to the scavenger problem. I don't know how many times I put stuff out for the large item pickup on Wednesday night, because our trash gets picked up on Thursday where I live. By Thursday morning, all the stuff I'd put out on the curb to go to the large item pickup was pretty much gone. You know, scavengers knew when we were doing large item pickups, so we've opted to have you schedule that at your convenience so that you don't have to store it for months and months. You can call, or you can go on the smartphone app and get that taken care of. Another thing that we're real proud of is our contribution to the school. For years, we collected telephone books and had a contest in the schools in the district that collected phone books, got a reward. Well, phone books have kind of gone by the way of the smartphone, so we switched that to an alkaline battery recycling program. We have schools that collect these, and towards the end of the year, we give them a reward. Any school that participates gets $300 for their efforts, and the big winners get more than that. So we get to go to the schools and present a check. This one's important to me because obviously that's me at California School where my kids went to school. But Mr. B, the principal at California School, I coached him in Little League. So that was a good one for me. Really big program for us is our sewer lateral assistance program, where if you do need that sewer lateral from the street to your home replaced, if you follow the procedures that we have, we'll pay for part of that for you. Now there is an application process. All the plumbers that work in our area know about the sewer lateral assistance program. So if you have to have this done and your plumber doesn't tell you about it, don't do anything till you talk to us, okay? Because we can help you financially. We'll write you, a part of the proceeds to have that work done. To brag a little bit, some awards the sanitary districts received over the last couple of years. The collection system of the year, that's sewer collection system of the year. Excellence in financial reporting, government. Just this last year, this is a nationally accredited award that was given to the Costa Mesa Sanitary District by the Solid Waste Management Association of North America. We were recognized as the Solid Waste Management System of the Year for the United States. So I think we're doing what we're supposed to do to make sure you get your trash picked up. All right, what's next? Probably the debate or the ball game, depending on what you. This is important. This is information that we want to make sure that you understand. We are going to be spending $10 million in the next 5 years to do some work, again, to make sure that sewer flows, to make sure that you are satisfied that when you open the drain or when you flush the toilet, it's gone and you'll never see it again. We want to make sure that continues for you. We are replacing some force mains. Right now we're doing one on Harbor Boulevard at Wilson. We're doing that at night. We're using a no-dig technology where the pipe is forced through the ground so that we don't have to tear up the streets. We do that in the middle of the night so that there's, well, two reasons we do it in the middle of the night. Less traffic and less sewer flow in the middle of the night, you might imagine. Okay. Right now we are again televising our entire sewer system so we know where our problems are. We are repairing the segments of those areas that are deficient, that have a potential for a problem. We're repairing those now. We're not going to borrow money later to fix them when they break. We're going to do them now. Over on Eldon Street, we are doing some repairs to the pump station there because it has given us some problems. We want to make sure it continues to go. This one's a really innovative program. On Adams Street, there is a pump station. If you go down Adams and just before you cross the riverbed, if you look on the right, you'll see a box. That is our control panel for our sewer pump station that's underground. Well, if there's a problem at that pump station and we need to bring in one of those generators that we showed, the crew has to block off one lane on Adams. They have to get out in the street and work. If you've been down Adams Boulevard lately, I don't want to be in the middle of that street. So we worked an arrangement with the homeowner there that our generator will be plugged in on the street in front of his house. He's granted us an easement to put the connection for this, for this generator to go through underground, through his yard, and out into the front street. So that our guys can, if there's a problem, they pull up in front of his house, plug the generator in, and the sewer continues to go. Really a great project, and we're very, very proud of that. We're also looking at doing some rehabilitation now on our manholes. We want to make sure that those continue to function the way they do. Again, in our solid waste area, like I mentioned to you earlier, our trash contract, we will be talking about it in 2017. So World War II was a long time ago, but we recognize the fact that we need to do some work. We need to make sure that we are still providing the best service at the best price. Again, you don't always get, by going out to bid, you don't always get the lowest rate. We want to make sure that you, the residents, are treated the way you need to be treated. We are still developing more strategies to get to our 75% so that we meet the state requirements. We continue to do the education programs in schools. We had one of our crew notice one day that kids would come up and watch these big sewer trucks cleaning this. We have what are called Vector trucks that do some work to clean, and the guys with their big trucks. And kids love that. I know my 3-year-old grandson sits on the back of the couch every Monday morning because he knows the trash truck is coming that day, and he loves to watch the trash truck. So one of our crew members came up with this idea called Sewer Slayer. And we developed a coloring book that, we didn't, our crew did it. So if a kid comes up and he's interested in the sewer, we give him some crayons or colors in this book, and they get to color in Sewer Slayer. You never know, we might pick up a future crew member from one of these kids who does our artwork. So we're very proud of the fact that our crew recognizes some things in the community that us big decision makers don't always recognize. It's another new program we've got coming this year. We're going to start paying plumbers directly to televise your line. If there's a problem in your sewer lateral from the street to your house, we're going to work out a deal where the plumber can come out and do that, and we'll help with the cost. Okay? If we do this, we might be able to do some things to keep you from having to use the sewer lateral program where you have to dig up your yard and replace it. This is a tremendous preventative measure that our board has decided to go forward with. There's Sewer Slayer, in case you hadn't seen him yet. That's him right there. We have undertaken a contest. These pump station boxes, quite frankly, are really ugly. It's a big gray box or green box. So we've undertaken an art contest throughout the city and promoting folks to come and do artwork on our boxes. Now, we didn't just think of this. The city of Costa Mesa has been doing a little bit of this, but we figured the sewer community needed to be represented in artwork too. So I guess there's some correlation. But this one is currently over at Wilson. we're near Harbor Boulevard. If you're not doing anything else tomorrow, drive down Wilson, you can see sewer slayer. We're also concerned about your own household waste. We want to make sure that you get that taken care of. So on November 5th, we will have an event at Orange Coast College where you can load your stuff in the back of your car, any hazardous household waste, cleaning supplies, paint, anything like that. You don't even have to get out of the car. The guys will come and take it out of your car. There's no charge to do that, and it's a big help to the community. So November 5th, if you're not, if you've got some stuff hanging around, don't pour it down the sewer, please. Take it over to Orange Coast College. With that, that's the end of the slideshow. I'm sure you're all very happy. We are going to have an open mic for public comments. You'll be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes for your comments. Our clerk, Nolani, has cards if you'd like to speak. So if there's anyone who would like to do that now, we're going to go ahead and open up the public comments section of this meeting and invite you to come up to the microphone because you get to be videotaped. Okay? Thank you, Trudy. I can't believe all of you would give up the Dodger game to be here tonight. That's just blowing my mind. If the Angels were playing tonight, we wouldn't be having a town hall meeting tonight. Let's put it that way. Mr. Koken.
Thank you, Mr. Scheafer. I said something like this to the city council a while ago. I had a girlfriend from Peru. Now, on the border of Peru and Bolivia, there's a lake called Lake Titicaca. And what the Peruvians say is Peru gets the Titi and Bolivia gets the caca. I didn't know what that word meant for a while, but she told me. And I'm sure you all know. Measure TT has nothing to do with caca. And except for the fact that we're paying for a large amount of caca on the, for the study that was done. If you add a teaspoonful of wine to a barrel of sewage, you get sewage. If you add a teaspoonful of sewage to a barrel of wine, you get sewage. And as far as I'm concerned, measure TT is that teaspoonful of sewage.
Go ahead. Your name, please.
I'm resident 27, Costa Mesa resident.
Great, thank you.
So my understanding, and I actually had tried to run for the water board before, I was encouraged to run for the sanitation board. It appears that maybe there's some infiltration going on into the sanitation board from nefarious people to maybe sway some votes so that they could get control of the sanitation board. Is that true? Untrue? Unfounded? Founded?
Well, we're going to wait to answer questions, but let's do this one now. We have 2 candidates, incumbents that are running, and we have 2 other gentlemen that are running that are not incumbents. One is a current city council member, and the other, I'm not sure what he does for a living.
Okay.
I was at that meeting that you were talking about earlier, the Tea Party meeting, where Shawn Dewane was explaining this whole TT fiasco. And I asked him at that time, because I'm an East Side resident, I asked him if that $650 would also cover the East Side, which is Irvine Ranch Water District, and he said it would. But after hearing your presentation, I'm wondering if they're X number of dollars in debt, and the sanitation district is $0 in debt, why would they be giving $650 rebate? It's almost as if it's some kind of incentive to vote for this. So I would highly question, it doesn't seem like it's a fiscally sound measure to even attempt other than to get the voters to agree with this.
Thank you, I appreciate those comments. Wendy Lease.
Well, thank you for the excellent presentation, helped my understanding of the whole operation.
Thank you.
But one of the criticisms that the sanitary board has had over the years is this contract that you've had for a long time, and you just mentioned that in 17 you're going to look at that again. but could you just give us like the 1A explanation? Because that issue alone has caused some, you to be discredited. And if we just had a simple answer, because on one of the slates that I carry, we favor Mr. Perry and Mr. Ferryman, so questions do come up.
Sure.
So if you could just help us understand that.
Well, I think as I alluded to earlier, waste hauling is very expensive. I mean, there is a huge amount of capital outlay. It's not uncommon for any agency to enter into long-term contracts. The hauler has to do business as well. And in order to make sure that the rates are reasonable for us, or whatever reasonable means, we want to make sure that that contractor has the ability to operate in business. Now, this current hauler hasn't, folks tend to focus on our current hauler has been with us since 1944 or since World War II. That's not true. Our contract with CR&R is only now reaching 10 years. So while the contract may not have gone out to bid, I think, and I can't speak for boards in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. I wasn't on those boards. But I think that the idea is to make sure that you protect the rate structure that the residents are getting by having a contractor that you know will provide what you need to do. One of the dilemmas we have now, and it's not really a dilemma as much as it's part of the decision-making process, is our district has decided to go through this anaerobic digestion system that we're using now with the lime green cans. There's only one facility that can do that, and there's only one hauler that can do that, and there's only one hauler that's going to be able to make sure that we meet the state standard of 75% in 2020. Well, what you're going to find is as we get closer to 2020, these trash folks will be scrambling to look for ways to get to the same process that CR&R is doing in Paris. In fact, in the city of Anaheim recently, the city council in Anaheim denied a permit, and I don't remember the name of the hauler, I'm sure Lawrence can tell me, but there was an anaerobic digestion facility proposed in Anaheim, and the city of Anaheim said, no, you're not going to do it, it's too close to residences. So you're going to have a plethora of haulers. 2020 is only a couple of years away. This facility that we're using through CR&R, has taken 6 years to build? Roughly 6 years to build? This hauler has had the foresight to make sure that the agencies they deal with have the ability to meet the state standard that other haulers aren't going to be able to do. They're going to take this stuff that we're putting through an anaerobic digestion facility that provides gas for the trucks, provides a natural resource, and they're going to be trying to ship that stuff to Yuma, all these other agencies, they're going to try to ship all this stuff to Yuma, Arizona. And the landfills out there, because there are no landfills in our area. Well, the cost that we're doing with the anaerobic digestion is far less than what these other agencies are going to have to pay to take their organics to another state. So there's a lot of complicating factors, but I think the one thing is we are going to be looking at it. We recognize the fact that the community is curious about it and we're getting some flack over it. We know that. But I think we've made a conscious decision to do what's right for the ratepayers by going into the hauling system that we're using. So, okay. Jean Morrow?
My question concerns the same thing, the trash hauling. You have a contract coming up. Supposing this consolidation goes through, how does that affect your negotiations with the contractor?
Really, really good question. I don't think we really know yet because nothing's been said to that part of it. My uneducated guess would be that we still have a contract no matter whether there's a consolidation or not. There's still a contract that has to be honored, and those same negotiations will have to go forward with the combined agency.
Okay. I just might mention one other thing. Your, what did you call them? Manhole covers.
Yes.
Okay, we had quite a problem with these bugs. They were 2 to 3 inches long, coming up through the sewer in the bathtub. And the insecticide man, nobody could help me. I called your district, and they came out and sealed the cover, and we've had no more trouble.
Oh, great. That's, thank you. That's good news. If I had a 2 or 3 inch bug coming out of my sewer, I know what I'd do. I'd be screaming like my granddaughter. Lance hailstone?
May I?
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, hey.
Art. He looks like he's got it.
Oh, yeah. First, let me preface what I'm going to say by I've taken a lot of classes through the Mesa Water District and has really helped me a lot in knowledge and learning about the water. I'm hoping you guys will do something like that if you don't already have.
Working on it.
Good, please, because it's very important to learn that. You mentioned a couple of times about non-digging placement of pipes. I'm assuming that's fracking. Is it?
No.
Not similar?
It's not fracking at all.
Because I grew up in a town called San Bruno in the San Francisco Bay Area,
yeah.
and that's exactly how they installed the PG&E pipes there up in that neighborhood that blew up. And I have friends that lost their homes and one that lost her life. And so that concerns me because sewage does develop a gas
Yes.
that can be very explosive. And so I was hoping that isn't the same method.
We are not using fracking in any way, shape, or form.
Great.
In fact, I didn't invite you to, we have some of the, at the district, we have some of the photos and diagrams of what we're doing. You're welcome to come down and take a look at it if you'd like.
That's what I was going to ask.
Absolutely.
If they can put something like that in the newsletter too, whenever you get a chance.
See about maybe putting something on the website?
Good, thank you.
Suggestion. Thank you very much. Okay, those are all the cards, so I'll just take this opportunity to thank you again for spending the evening with us. We appreciate this. We hope to do these kind of meetings under less strenuous circumstances and to do this on a more frequent basis so that you all know where your money's being spent. And we thank you. I know the board appreciates it, the staff does, and we wish you all a good evening. Thank you.